It's crazy to think about that marketing's getting to this point where there's such big influencers that we can talk about what's happening, right? As some of these marketing influencers, very similar to sports, right? Like LeBron James gets traded and you can do a whole hour long segment on it, right? And I don't want to go to that depth, but there was that big news that came out, and we're going to talk about this because I see you got your drift hat on. You're already getting ready to represent. Your buddy Dave Gearhart went from CMO at I think Privy it was. He's back at Drift, and he's chief brand officer now. And I wanted to get your thoughts on this because I thought it was kind of a step back for him. But maybe before I get into that, you think this is a really great thing for Drift, and maybe it is, and for Dave Gearhart. So what do you think about this move?
Are you sure you're ready for me to go all in on this one?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Man, let's do it. So, I'm just a fanboy over here, right? I don't know these guys, but let me just say this. This is going to go down as the move. And it's not even in my opinion, it's not even up for debate. So does Drift have a great CMO? Yeah, they probably do. I don't know, Trisha. I think she seems really, really solid. I have no concerns, right? Is the Drift brand where you would expect it to be relative to where it was a few years ago?
Ooh.
Probably not quite. Has the game kind of changed a little bit since last time? Are there a few more haters popping up? Is there a little bit more about nobody likes chatbots now?
Oh, that's true.
It's like what used to be ooh, all marketers could agree that forms suck, and is now the conversation of well, come on, man. Nobody likes chatbots, which is such a bullshit statement, by the way. That is ridiculous to kind of come out with.
I'll say it. Nobody likes chatbots. And by the way, we're getting a little romantic here. One of my lights went out, so just enjoy the mood.
Bring it on, man. I'll take it. Hey, listen. A chief brand officer for a company like Drift, with the history Drift has had, and with the ambitions that I can only imagine DC has, makes all the sense in the world. So there's two things here. There's the benefit for the company, but there's also for DG. Now, yeah, could he have gone somewhere else and been CMO? Of course. He probably has a bunch of offers, probably people still knocking on his door. Could he have just gone all in on his own DGMG thing? Yeah, of course. It could be a major business. This, though, lets him, in my opinion, this lets him play in the most playful / meaningful ways that he can play, right? He now gets to be both kind of this idea guy for how to do some really awesome, big, fun shit. And he'll get to execute it. He'll get to actually do stuff. And when it's all said and done, he will get a huge part of the credit for how the brand got elevated to a point where when they go public, not get acquired, when they go public, it will be a massive, massive deal.
Okay. Interesting. No, you said something that I guess I didn't come up with this topic, which is this a good move for Drift? Oh, 100% for Drift. It's a good move, right? Dave Gearhart has a huge following. Obviously, Drift goes after marketers, right? That goes hand in hand 100%. Mm-hmm. I came in with a slightly different angle, which was focusing, maybe a little bit the sports talk shows and what they talk about, right? Where the player, is this a great move for Dave Gearhart? And I actually think it's a step back, one, from where he was, two, probably what he could be doing. And I know we talked about it a little offline, and my mindset is I have to imagine he's making 40, 50K a month from his just little DGMG thing. If he went all in on that, I'm sure he could scale it really quickly, right? So with that in mind, I'm okay, you're brand officer at Drift, this has to be a step back, and this might not age very well for me, but I feel like there's got to be something else going on where, I don't know, maybe he was promised CEO or something where that would be a huge step up. I just feel like there's this missing piece of the story that I don't know about because in my mind, where Gerhardt's at, he in my opinion, what I've called him the Gary V of marketing, right? Like he's the biggest name in B2B marketing, in my opinion. Maybe Chris Walker's slowly starting to, or maybe he has, right? They're both up there. But with that said, and probably how quickly he could scale his own little thing, I feel like there's more to this story that we don't know about. But yes, for Drift and this move, 100% to have him as your brand voice to go out there and help you build a following, be probably like the community type guy. It's great. I just think there's more to this story to make this really beneficial for Gerhardt because I feel like he's either just got to be CEO and run his own thing and probably make a lot more, or there's that in 2 years it's going to be Dave Gerhardt's Drift.
Look, there could be more to the story, and it's fun to think about that, right? Like what could be in the cards here for him and for teams. Like, yes, that's interesting. But you got to think about all the awesome shit that they did back when he was at Drift, right? Like he's a first marketing hire. They actually did really cool stuff. If he's able to do that at an even like way higher level, more budget, higher stakes, like this is gonna be actually fun.
Yeah. You know, to piggyback two things. One, we think about Drift and what they did. They found a scalable growth lever and then went out and built around it, right? Their whole conversational marketing. One, just to piggyback off the old topic. But two, I think you said something interesting, which is Drift is probably in this pivot right now where that lever no longer works and they're trying to find a new one. And I wonder, and again, I have no idea if that's true. That's just kind of what my gut tells me, where they're trying to find that next growth lever and they're probably hoping that Gerhardt can help piece that together as the brand guy.
They said in an old episode of the world's greatest podcast, Seeking Wisdom, DG asked DC, hey, what do you think we did that was unconventional, but that really massively gave us an opportunity to do this big? And the answer was hand-to-hand combat. You know, they built it sort of one relationship with one marketer at a time. And they were genuine in that in the early days, right? And I think you're right. Like they've lost that, right? Like that you get to a certain point and the game is just kind of different. And now they're playing this sort of like bigger company marketing engine type of game, as they should. But I think that what DG will be able to do is he will be able to create a new growth lever, a massive one. And that is ultimately why that is not a step down and why that is arguably for him at this point more meaningful than a CMO role at name some other SaaS company, is that he will, while he may not be that interested in the glory or the credit, I don't know, but he will at the end of it, if this thing really goes, like we will know a big part of the reason why.
That I agree. One day.
Yeah, but I mean the things that they did, right? Like they were doing shit that unlocked exponential growth. Yeah. I imagine right now what the marketing team at Drift is doing, no disrespect to anybody there, is probably more along the lines of incremental growth. Because it's just that big. Like that's just what it is. Yep. The opportunity to come in and not be sort of, I hate to say it, like, I mean, I'm not a CMO at Drift, right? But I'm a VP of marketing at another smaller, but still SaaS company with it. Like the day-to-day, like the shit isn't that romantic. Like it's like, so to be able to come in as like, I mean, if we're going to stick to sports analogy, come in to just really be able to play. Like really play, man.
You said a few interesting things there, actually. One, like that hand-to-hand combat, that only resonated with me because, like, that's how I'm building Elevate Demand right now, right? Like, it's one-to-one with each person. I text at night most of my customers, right? Like we're just talking, usually about marketing. I'm actually going out to meet somebody's team on Tuesday, like for after-hour drinks, right? It's just like that relationship building, like that slow drip of doing that and how much it changes. But there's one more thing I want to piggyback on that I thought was really interesting that you said. And there seems to be a marketing pushback on the Martech, right? A little bit. And it's almost, and I call Drift out for this shit too. Marketers somehow got sucked into buying the tech that's really for sales, right? Like all that stuff got put into the marketing budget when a lot of it's sales tech. And there is a pushback on bots. I think there's a pushback on marketing by all this tech. Like maybe that's some of the old game, new game even is to think about into the future if you're a MarTech vendor, right? Which is you bought all that tech and it didn't do shit for you. So
Well, that's part of that though is the slippery slope of like marketing increasingly being about revenue, right?
Yep.
And Drift now being a revenue acceleration platform, that brings you necessarily closer to sales.
This is just one big promo of Jurgen, got it right, talking about Drift.
Once again, the fanboy. No, but for real though, like it's such a massive opportunity for Drift still to be a truly exceptional company. Like that is still within reach to be a truly exceptional company, right? You're right, there is some pushback right now. Like the marketing community isn't thinking of Drift today, I think, the way they thought about it a couple of years ago. And if you continue to just sort of like, and again, it's just no diss to like what is probably an excellent CMO and an excellent marketing team. But if you just continue on the same path and you don't have anything else playing that is going to like shake some shit up, like, I mean, it was the way the story goes, it was Elias, the CTO, who reached out to DG and just said like, look, the time is now for you to come back and do this brand shit. And I think they're just really recognizing what kind of opportunity that is. And it's kind of like, it's like it's definitely marketing. Like he's going to be doing marketing. Like watch this space, right? Like he's going to be doing marketing, but he's going to be able to do it detached from the regular grind of running a marketing org in a company that's still growing, but that may not be in like hyper growth. I don't know, but like it's super fascinating, man. Like I just want to say this to the haters out there, right?
Here we go.
No, but for real, right? It's so easy and sometimes fun to sit there and say, oh, well, they just came up with this shit and it's all bullshit and nobody likes the shit anyway. Like, watch what's going to happen though. Watch how you actually build a great brand and a great business and truly exit and create fucking legacy. Like, watch.
All right. Well, like I said, one of us on this podcast is going to age really well, and one of us is going to age really bad when we look back in 2 years, I think. And that's part of it.
What's fun about this stuff, man?
I love it. I love it. So, a little off the beaten path, but like this was fun. So let's we'll get back into the swing of things. Liz a little bit back. We went long. That's all right. We had our own little fun, and we'll see what people think.
Yeah, Liz, get back down from the mountains. You got to join us for the next one.
Yeah, I mean, kind of a cop-out. You were up in... I don't remember.
I was in Norway for the last one, man. I made it.
Yeah, and like it looked like a basement. So awesome. We'll get it back next week with Liz.
See you.